Hello everybody, it's One Warrant Victory here. And since 2019 it's finally come to an end, and we're what, a week or two in, and we're already talking about World War III. 2020's off to an interesting start, isn't it? Anyways, pardon me, my speech has been getting worse and worse over the past few months, if you couldn't tell from the Dinosaur King commentaries. Anyways, since 2019 has finally come to an end, I will full out say that was a good year for movies. Because last year in 2019 I saw 20 movies. That has to be a record for me. Because I don't have a clue. Because before this, I never kept track of how many movies I watched and how I'd rank them above others. Meanwhile, this is the first year I've actually ever done that. I'm hoping to keep that up for this year. So, I saw 20 movies this year, and I've got them on notes on my iPad right here. So if you see me just reaching towards it, that'll just be me making sure it's not going to shut off, okay? But I don't have a clue how many movies I saw in 2018 or 2017. That's because I didn't keep track. Meanwhile, now I'm keeping track. And I would really like to do those, like, big, worst movie of the decade, best movie of the decade. But sadly, I can't do that because I don't know what movies came out this decade. Okay, on that embarrassing note, I think we should really start. So, we're gonna start off with number 20 on my list, which is the lowest one. Which is Lion King 2019, which I gave a 3 out of 10. My notes are great CGI, which I'll still stand up for today. The CGI is absolutely fantastic. Meanwhile, sadly, the VFX company it's either being shut down or the visual effects artists who work on it are being fired because of negative feedback. Like, it's not their fault. It's not their fault that that it was so realistic you couldn't tell the emotions on the lions' faces. That was Jon Favreau's fault. Something should happen to him, not the poor animators. Anyways, and my other details are alright, Scar. And the ironic thing is, in my opinion, Scar was probably the best character in the movie, based on his design alone, because apparently, he is the lion which is the most detached from reality in his design. Meanwhile, he also turns out to be the best character in the movie because he's got the best design. How ironic! And I described everything else as crap. I let you wrote it down as everything else crap. Because from what I remember, it was like, the things they should have changed, they didn't change. But the things that they didn't need to change, they changed. My main example of stuff where they change it, but don't change the right things. My main example is the scene where Mufasa dies. Now, in the original, you of course have Jeremy Irons and James L. Jones voicing Scar and Mufasa, of course. And of course, during the stampede, Mufasa's trying to escape the canyon by climbing up the sides of the canyon, which I don't have a clue how a lion is doing that. Anyways, as he's climbing up the canyon, he goes, "Scar, help me!" And Scar reaches out his paws and sticks his claws into his paws. In which, from Mufasa's point of view, it's kind of like, "Oh, my brother's helping me." Meanwhile, on Scar's side is like, oh, I'm gonna murder this son of a bitch. And he of course says, a very long and deep, long live the king. Then let's go, and Mufasa falls to his death. Meanwhile, in the new version, we have Mufasa climbing up the canyon. He gets to the top of the canyon, and for some reason he still asks Scar for help. And Scar just says, long live the king, and bitch slaps him. He just bitch slaps him, and he goes flying off the edge, tumbling to his death. I still can't believe that. They killed Mufasa off by bitch slapping him. Pull it together, Adam. Anyways, another change that I didn't like is Be Prepared. Now, Be Prepared is my favourite song in The Lion King. It's always been my favourite song, and it still is. In the original, you like have this big like it was like a Broadway Be Prepared was more like a Broadway musical number. My English is so broken today. It's no point in me describing Be Prepared because I hope you guys already know it. Meanwhile, in the remake, we just have Scar going, be prepared, be prepared, be prepared. Oh, such an upgrade! Oh, that is such an upgrade! An upgrade from a great song to just lots of auto-tune on a guy speaking. My throat is dry already just from talking about The Lion King. The Lion King is one of my favourite movies. It's like, out of my top 5 movies, it's like number 3. Only to see it get destroyed in this remake. And for this remake to become the highest grossing animated movie of all time. It's classified as live action remake as far as Disney's concerned, and it goes ahead and becomes the highest grossing animated movie of all time. Meanwhile, there are much better movies which deserve that status. Hell, I prefer Frozen having that status than The Lion King 2019, because at least Frozen was original. Meanwhile, The Lion King takes the original, breaks it in half, and says, here, enjoy it. I remember I had this amazing, while saying that, I had this amazing comparison, but I just forgot it. This is why I should write a script, because if you can tell, this isn't scripted. So overall, Lion King 2019 is in my opinion the worst movie that I saw in 2019. Just moving on to the next movie, and hold on, I just need to take a drink. Next movie at number 19 is Captain Marvel, which I gave a 4 out of 10. And how I described it after seeing it was, okay story, great visuals, nice twist. Now, I'm gonna try and keep this spoiler free for guys who haven't, for people who haven't seen it. Now looking back at it, yeah, I can see why he wrote these. The story is okay. It's average. Meanwhile, I will say I do actually really like visuals in it. I don't know. I think it's just because of how colourful the visuals are, with most of it being like blue, with most of the CGI being like blue and green. I'm pretty sure that's why. Because at least it's more colourful than Lion King 2019. As for the twist, yes, there was a twist in here which I'll downright say I was not expecting, and which I actually really like that twist. I didn't see it coming, and I really commend the writers for putting that in. But apart from that, I don't have anything else to say. It was just another Marvel movie that only made $1 billion because it came out before Endgame. And people were probably like, "Oh, I have to see this to understand Endgame." Meanwhile, Captain Marvel was barely in Endgame. Now moving on to number 18. 6 Underground 4 out of 10. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Oh, Michael Bay. Who knew that making a career out of terrible stories and decently shot action scenes, who knew that scheme would eventually fail? Because I would downright say, when I was younger, I used to love Michael Bay. He used to be like my favourite director. I used to love Michael Bay Transformers. I used to love the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles. Even though I will fully admit I'm kind of partial to the Ninja Turtles. But he's gone from one of the highest grossing directors to where this movie wouldn't get picked up by anybody, so Netflix just went, let's buy it. But because I'm pretty sure that for 6 Underground, I'm pretty sure they made the movie and nobody wanted to distribute it. So Netflix was the only one who were the only people who wanted it. The way I described it was very, very bland and good action scenes. Now, I don't remember anything about this movie. The only part that I can remember, there were some decent action scenes. The opening scene was like Suicide Squad, and that's all I can say. I don't remember anything else. I don't know what to say because I don't remember anything because this movie is so forgettable. The only thing I can talk about is Michael Bay, because as I just said, he's one of the highest grossing directors in Hollywood. And now barely anybody wants his movies. So ever since since the financial failure of Transformers The Last Night, now nobody wants his movies anymore. It's like people only wanted his movies because they made money. Not because people actually not because they were critically praised. I don't really care about the fact that Michael Bay's career has gone down the hill. Even though I've got nothing against the guy. I've got no personal vendetta against him. I don't wish his career to go downhill. I don't wish him to go homeless. Just, it's good to see that time is finally caught up to him. Now number 17. This is a controversial one. The Irishman. The 3-hour-long Martin Scorsese movie. Now, I'll downright say here, this is the only Martin Scorsese movie I've ever seen. I remember for like a few weeks I was debating if I should watch Taxi Driver or not, but I couldn't be bothered to watch it. And I gave The Irishman a 6 out of 10. Number 17. Ooh. Ooh. People are gonna take many things away from this. Either A, Martin Scorsese isn't as good as others, isn't as good as modern day movies, or B, the modern generation don't respect Martin Scorsese. But as for the little quotes I did for it, I described it as nothing but talking, and it doesn't show anything visually. Now, one of my favorite factors about movie making is show don't tell. Meanwhile, The Irishman is all talking. It's like, oh yes, I'm trying to do. Okay, I'm gonna try and do a Italian accent. I forget what it is. Oh, it's all like, oh yeah, me and him really go back. Meanwhile, you don't visually see that. You don't visually see it. You don't visually see the relationship between the characters. It's just people going, oh yeah, me and him go back. Oh yeah, I like him. Oh yeah, stay cool, kid. Meanwhile, I personally don't like that because it's just speaking to the audience. It's not like it's like the way I introduce two people being friends. It's like through a little bit of dialogue, like calling each other mate, and how the way they interact with each other. Like where they stand next to each other, the way they interact with each other, like they jokingly punch each other. Meanwhile, the Irishman's just like, oh yeah, me and him are friends now. Now move on with the story. And this is 3 hours long. And I'll downright admit here, I was in it for the first 2 hours, but as soon as I got past the 2 hour mark, my brain went completely off track as soon as we entered the 2 hour mark. And apparently this is based off a true story, because I'll fully admit here, I am an Englishman. I do not know a single thing about American history. I do not study history at school or study geography. I do not have a clue who any of these people are. I didn't know if this movie... The thing is, due to this, I didn't know if this movie was based off a real story or just fictional until JFK's assassination came up. And that's when I started debating, is this based off a true story? Because I don't have a clue who any of these other people are. Because apparently this whole entire story is surrounding a murder of some mafia guy who tried to campaign to be the president. And who apparently got killed, apparently something mysterious happened to him. Oh, he got mysteriously killed! Meanwhile, people in the present today in foreign countries, people who didn't grow up in that generation where that happened, don't have a clue what you're talking about. So I ranked apparently the masterpiece of this amazing director at number 17. I only gave it a 6 out of 10. That shows my bias, doesn't it? Anyways, now we're on to number 16. Glass! Now, if you don't know, Glass is a movie connected to Unbreakable and Split. I will say, I do really like Split and Unbreakable. For a while, Unbreakable was my favourite superhero movie. And I gave The Glass 6 out of 10. And my little quotes were, I liked the scenes in the hospital, because I kind of like how it delved into the fact, like, ooh, are these people really superheroes? Or do they do they have some mental condition where they think they're superheroes? I will say, I do like that. And I loved what happens to Kevin's dad. Now, to people who haven't seen the movie, that won't make any sense. But those who have seen the movie, and if you even remember it, You know what I mean. I've got nothing else to say because it's been like months since I've seen that movie. Number 15, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. In my little brackets, I described it as great CGI, half-ass ending, and I gave it a 5 out of 10. Now, if you didn't notice, I gave this a 5 out of 10, and I gave The Irishman and Glass 6 out of 10, but yet Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker is higher than those. That's because, well, making these, while ranking these, I gave my personal opinion of the movie, like how well it was made, in my personal opinion, but the way I rank these movies is which ones I'd rather watch more than the other. For example, if I was given the choice between watching Rise of Skywalker or Glass, I'll watch Glass. I'll watch Rise of Skywalker. So I ranked Rise of Skywalker above Glass and The Irishman because I'd rather watch Rise of Skywalker than those two. Now, I watched this 10 days ago, like just over a week ago, and I barely remember anything. Despite what I said, it was a decent ending. I downright say it's because of the sequel trilogy that I'm into Star Wars. I really liked Force Awakens when it came out. I went to see it twice, and I haven't watched The Last Jedi since I saw it in cinemas, so I hope to give it a second chance someday. The Rise of Skywalker. The story was all over the place. Like, it's clear that J.J. Abrams didn't have a plan. Because apparently, originally, Colin Trevorrow was meant to direct this. But due to... How did they describe it? Creative differences. They fired him. And brought J.J. Abrams back in. This is my main problem with J.J. Abrams. His whole entire gimmick is this mystery box thing, which he does a really good job at teasing it and at teasing what the answers are. But he doesn't do the intelligent thing, and have an answer first and then tease it. It's like going, ooh, what's inside this box? Oh, you'll love what's inside this box. You will oh, isn't it so mysterious what's inside this box? But yeah, again, but before that, he didn't put anything in the box. So as soon as people were expecting something, he went off stage and grabbed something and just chucked it in and said, here's what was inside the box the whole entire time. But other than that, I don't have much to say about Rise of Skywalker. Because I'll fully say it's like 6 and 5 where it all starts to become a massive blur. Where things just starts to blend together and I forget most of it. Now, number 14. Spider-Man Far From Home, 6 out of 10. I will fully admit, growing up I was not a Star Wars fan. Star Wars? I wasn't a Star Wars fan either. I wasn't a Spider-Man fan. I actually used to hate superhero movies in general. So, as somebody who doesn't have nostalgia to Spider-Man, I'm partial to Spider-Man. I don't love him, I don't hate him. I like him. And I described Spider-Man Far From Home as good story, and the hologram scene was amazing. Now, from what I remember, the hologram scene is the highlight of the movie. As far as I'm concerned, that is the movie. But the rest of the movie is average. It's it does its job as a epilogue. Is it epilogue or prologue? I'm pretty sure a prologue is before a story happens, and an epilogue is after a story happens. So Spider-Man Far From Home is a decent epilogue from Avengers Endgame. But I will fully admit, I do love Mysterio. Not gonna say anything else apart from spoilers. From the beginning to the end, even throughout the changes in the story, I love Mysterio. He's the best character in the movie. Now, number 13. Shazam. 6 out of 10. Now, I remember leading up to this movie, people were like, "Oh, this movie's so funny! This is one of the funniest movies of the year!" And I went to see it, and it's not that funny. I think it's mostly because of the difference in comedy towards Americans and British people. Most American humor is people screaming and making loud noises, and loud noises makes funny. Meanwhile, most of the humor in Britain is more sarcasm, and that's something you Americans really need to learn: sarcasm. So I'll full on say this movie isn't that funny. But there are a few jokes which I really like. Like, one of my favourite jokes is, I know this is going to sound weird out of context, but it's to do with a strip club. And all of the characters are kids! And one of the kids turns into an adult because it's a part of his superpower. He turns into a superpowered Superman-like adult. Meanwhile, he's actually a child. Hold on. Let's say that guy was like an adult and he was really overweight. Could you just say Shazam and turn into a really buff guy? That would be my dream. Anyways, as I was saying about the strip club. If there's a joke where Shazam in his adult form tries to get into a strip club, but of course he's really a kid. And he takes one of his other kid friends in with him, and two kids just went into a strip club. And that joke comes back in the movie, and it had me and my dad laughing our asses off. It's like, it's not the really big jokes that make me laugh. It's more like, ooh, the little subtle humour. Like, one of my favourite jokes in the movie was when Shazam and the supervillain are in a shopping mall, and Shazam grabs a giant Batman figure, and the Batman figure has a talking feature where it says, "I'm Batman," and he just chucks it at him and says, "Get him, Batman!" I do have to say, I do really enjoy that joke. I remember in the trailer, that joke was in one of the trailers. I kept on rewinding it so I could hear that one joke. Well, on the villain, apparently most of criticism around this movie is the villain was bland. But I'll full and say the villain was the best part of the movie. First off, Mark Strong is playing the villain. Mark Strong, yes. and I will say, I actually do really like the entire origin story of the villain, because I don't think this really counts as a spoiler, because it's not that big it's not that much of a spoiler. But when the kid was younger, the old Shazam, who passed on his powers to the new Shazam, which is the little kid, basically summoned this kid to test him if he was worthy. Now, before this, we pretty much see it. We see him being neglected by his father and being bullied by his older brother. Oh, and that little kid gets summoned to where the adult, to where the old to where the old Shazam is. And that older Shazam basically says you're useless after he fails the test, and he goes back to his brother and father. He gets summoned back and he gets sent back to his father and brother. And the thing is, in a moment they're in a car, and the kid was freaking out like, "Oh, where did you go? I'm worried." And to have him pretty much being bullied and neglected by his older peers, only to be told that he's worthless by the older Shazam. I would say I do really like that. Now I've been talking about the villain for too long. Now we should probably go on to number 12. Ooh, we're almost halfway through. I Am Mother. Now, I remember I watched it at the beginning of the year, and from what I remember, it was good. I gave it a 6 out of 10. In brackets, I said it was very nice, and I described it as having great effects. But it turns out, most of those effects were so good because they were practical. They built this whole entire robot suit for somebody to go in and basically pretend to be a robot. I love that. I love practical effects in movies. But I don't remember that much about it. I remember some parts of the story. The story was decent. And it's mainly the effects. The effects are absolutely amazing. And that's really all I have to say about I Am Mother, because I didn't rewatch it. I didn't rewatch any movie for this. I probably should have. I'm so professional, aren't I? Now we're on to number 11. Ooh, almost a number 10. Detective Pikachu. 6 out of 10. Now, I'll fully admit, I am not a huge Pokemon fan. I mainly got into... I wouldn't call myself a fan of it. I'd say I'm partial to Pokemon. Because most of my experience I've had with Pokemon was playing Pokemon Go. In brackets, I said great effects and average story. Now, from what I remember, yeah, I agree with that. The realistic designs for Pokemon were really good. Especially my boy Charizard. Because you don't know, Charizard's my favourite Pokemon. Oh, how generic, but I don't care. It's an orange badass dragon, who cares? Anyways, the story is alright. Because it is a detective story, I'm not that big on detective stories. This is like an average detective story, but placed in the world of Pokemon. Now, I really like the fact that this isn't like, ooh, these human characters travel to the world of Pokemon. No, this movie takes place in the world of Pokemon. Because I really hate that about most of the video game movies. Where it's like, the main characters get transported from our world into the video game-like world. Like, I'm just like, no, that's not the point. And this is one of those movies like Rampage, those kind of video game movies that are set in the world. Now I'm running low on battery, of course. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back like 2 hours later. The camera is back on full battery, so hopefully we won't be restricted this time. So I've got nothing else to say about Detective Pikachu, which is a decent story with really good effects. Like most things on this list. Now, at number 10, we have Missing Link, which I gave a 6 out of 10. I described it as great animation with a good story. first surprising is, I remember this thing didn't do well at the box office. And like, of course it's been nominated for Best Animation. It's been nominated for Best Animations of 2019. And it hasn't won any of them. Until the Golden Globes came round and somehow it won the Golden Globes. I don't know what to say. It was very surprising. Anyways, The Missing Link. This is my first Laika movie. I've never seen Coraline. I've seen the first few minutes of Kubo and Two Strings. Apart from that, this is my first Laika movie. And I will say it's a really good start. It's better than what Disney's shoving out these days. Because I'd rather watch this over Frozen any day of the week. So how am I going to get into this without spoiling it? Because I highly would recommend watching it. How would I do? Yes, that's right. Of course, this movie is stop motion. Now, as somebody who's done stop motion myself, and I've actually been thinking about maybe trying it out again, I really do commend these animators here. Because it takes like, what, a week to do 10 seconds? 10 to 5? Something ridiculous like that. And you turn those seconds into minutes. And you turn those minutes into hours. It takes years to make stop motion animated movies. And I really commend them on this. So I've got really nothing else to say because I want people to watch it. It's a really good movie. I recommend it. Number 9. Toy Story 4. 7 out of 10. Yes, we're finally entering the 7s. I described it as really good, solid ending to the Toy Story franchise. And yeah. A few weeks ago I watched Toy Story 3 to see if I can compare the endings. And I will fully say Toy Story 3 is a better ending than Toy Story 4. Because I have had commenters which said, "Ooh, Toy Story 4 is better because Woody and Buzz separate." But for me, that part seemed kind of stuffed in at the final second. Meanwhile, Toy Story 3, the whole entire progress of the movie was leading up to what's happening with Andy and what the toys are gonna do. And at the end, it ends with Andy giving the toys to Bonnie. And in Toy Story 3, of course, Bonnie gets a hold of Woody before that and pretty much falls in love with him. Meanwhile, apparently like a week, a month, a year after, she just treats him like crap. I will say I don't like that part. So this is a solid ending to the Toy Story franchise, but I will say that the third movie was a better ending, and it seems like this movie was obviously just made for money. Meanwhile, the other two movies were made to continue the story. This one's clearly just made so they can make an extra few ching. What else do I have to say about this movie? I don't know, if I don't hurry up, it's gonna be an hour long. So I need to kind of go through these things fast. At number 8, we've got Kroll at number 7. With 7 out of 10. Now, I did a whole entire review on this, so if you want to know my in-depth thoughts on the movie, just go and watch the review. And in my description, I described it as really suspenseful, an adorable dog. And from what I remember, I still stick with those. But once again, if you want to know my thoughts in detail, I'm not really going to cover them here because I can make a few more extra views. Just go and watch my review on it. Ooh, how the mighty have fallen. And number 7, we've got Avengers Endgame. 7 out of 10. Whew. At the beginning of the year, this was like number 3. Now it's fallen down to number 7. The thing is, I remember the first time watching it in cinemas. I didn't love it, because I love Infinity War. I love that movie to bits. It's my favourite Marvel movie. Meanwhile, Avengers Endgame was still really good. Meanwhile, on a rewatch, it didn't do so well. Cause on the rewatch, it's like all the things that made the first viewing so good was experiencing all the climactic moments for the first time. Meanwhile, watching it for the second time, you knew those climactic bits were coming. So yes, you could have been like, oh, this bit's coming, this bit's coming, this bit's coming, and as soon as it came, you were like, oh, it was coming. I saw that coming. I knew it was going to happen. Why am I enjoying this more? Which I didn't. So I'll fully say that the 3-hour runtime really drags. Now I just mentioned the fact that my main problem with Avengers Endgame is time travel. I'll just fully admit. If your movie isn't about time travel, don't include it. Or if you want to include time travel in a movie, don't make it a giant part of the story and don't even talk about it. Because Avengers Endgame, it was like time travel was a giant part of the story. I mean, like, first off, I hate the idea that the Avengers, oh, we've got time travel now. Oh, they can prevent everything that happens in the future now thanks to time travel. But as far as I care, if the movie isn't about time travel, or if it doesn't really focus on time travel, but wants to have... Avengers Endgame wants to have its cake and eat it too. It wants to have a movie that surrounds time travel, but also doesn't discuss it that much. I will fully admit that the whole time travel bit feels forced. I think the movie could have been way better if they just didn't touch time travel at all. If it just took place in the present, like a week after Avengers Infinity War, it would make the story way more interesting. And it would be it would be way harder to write it. But in the end, you need to put more effort into writing it? And therefore put more effort into writing it, it's a higher chance it'll be a better movie. But Avengers Endgame isn't that satisfying of an ending. But it's better. But it's most likely gonna be the best ending that we're gonna get. Because after this, no more Marvel movies for me. I made an exception for Spider-Man Far From Home because my friends were like, "Oh, this movie's amazing," and I came out thinking it was average. Am I going too fast? I don't care. I don't care. I'm gonna keep on going like this. So the only Marvel movies I'll see after this will be the next Guardians of the Galaxy and the next 4. After that, no more. Because as far as I care, Avengers is finished. And the next 3 movies are going to be like 3 epilogues to it. Along with the fact that you need to probably get a Disney Plus subscription to keep up with it. It's like DLC. It's like, oh, you need to buy this DLC so you can keep track of the story. Yeesh. I hate stuff like that. So overall, Infinity War was way better than Avengers Endgame. It wasn't that satisfying of an ending, but it's decent for what we got. Now, number 6. We have Klaus. Or Klaus, some people call it. I'm going to call it Klaus because he's called Klaus. If you don't know, it's an animated Santa movie. And yes, I really enjoyed it. in brackets I described it as great animation and incredibly wholesome. Yes, because I couldn't decide if I even should rank it on the list. Just ignore that. I was thinking if I even should rank it on the list due to how wholesome it is. But here it is, at number 6 with 7 out of 10. I'm not trying to... somebody's hoovering. I'm not trying to give that much away so people can watch it, but it's a Christmas movie, so people will most likely have to wait till next year. But I highly recommend watching it because as far as I can tell, Netflix is probably going to be the future for animation. Which is why I'm happy I've got a Netflix subscription. Now we're in the top 5. At number 5, we've got Joker. 7 out of 10. And do I even need to say anything? Everything has already been said. I don't even need to say anything. So, I'm gonna move on to the next one. John Wick Chapter 3. 7 out of 10. Now, I'll fully say, I still think the first John Wick is the best John Wick movie. For me it goes, first John Wick movie is the best, the third one is the second best, and the second one's the worst. But the second one is still good. If the choreography, sorry, I suck with words. The choreography in John Wick Chapter 3 is amazing. And everything is an upgrade from the second one. Just everything. Just the final act isn't just John going through New York, being attacked by random people. No. The actual ending of this movie has an actual reason to exist. It's just like, oh yeah, we can't. It's not like the second movie where you could easily cut this action scene. Meanwhile, in the third one, yeah, you can cut them, but it wouldn't be that good of a story if you did. And Keanu Reeves is great. That's just not a compliment to the movie. It's just something in general. Keanu Reeves is amazing as always, because he is breathtaking. I don't care if that meme's dead, I love that man and I love that meme. Now, on number 3. For number 3, we surprisingly have It Chapter 2, which I gave a 7 out of 10. I'm very surprised it's this high on the list. Because I have seen the first It, I will say that I enjoy it, I think it's good. And in my brackets, I described it as a better ending than Endgame, which I'm not going to argue with. It Chapter 2 is a better ending than Endgame. And Pennywise was phenomenal. Because, first off, the performance is phenomenal. And it seems like he's on this kind of leeway between being funny and being absolutely horrifying. Because as somebody who... I'm not scared of clowns, I just don't like them. Pennywise was amazing! And I really do commend that this movie is... that there's only been 2... But I will mention there's only been 2 It movies, compared to like 20 Marvel movies. So it does make sense why It Chapter 2 would be more cohesive and contain everything, compared to Avengers Endgame, which seems to be missing certain things. And seems to be kind of all over the place, and like, oh, we have to do this, oh, we have to do this! So now we are on to number 2. At number 2, we've got Godzilla, King of the Monsters. My boy! 8 out of 10. Great movie. Hold on a second, something's going on with my camera. It's a great movie. It's my favorite hero Godzilla movie, and it just incarnates everything I love about Godzilla. It's a Godzilla fan's wet dream come true. But I will say, it's not my favorite Godzilla movie. Which my favorite Godzilla movie is Shin Godzilla. So, it seems like I've only got 4 minutes left on my memory card, so I better hurry up. But if you want to know my full thoughts on Godzilla King of the Monsters, I did a review on that as well, so go and check that out. So at number 1. My favourite movie of 2019, if any of you know me, you probably already know what it is. It's How to Train Your Dragon. The Hidden World. Alright, so How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World. I gave this movie a 9 out of 10, and my only description is absolutely fantastic. Now, I will fully say, yes, I'm on a bias here. That's because I grew up with How to Train Your Dragon. How to Train Your Dragon is my childhood, as I've said before. If I could describe my childhood in one piece of media, it would be How to Train Your Dragon. It's because of How to Train Your Dragon that I'm like this today. I'm being serious. I don't know where I would be without this. It's been such a huge part of my childhood. 9 years. I've been watching this franchise straight for 9 years. Just, the music, it's fantastic. It's John Powell, of course it's fantastic. The animation, fantastic. It's DreamWorks. And, okay, I will fully admit here, the story, I was going to say the story isn't that good, but no! Fuck that, the story's really good! In my opinion, the story in the third one is a improvement over the second one. Even though I love all 3 of them equally, I love all 3 of them. I love this movie. I need to script a whole entire video about why I love this movie. But yeah, again, the 10-year anniversary of How to Train Your Dragon is like in March, so why don't I do a video for then? So, it really seems like 2019 has been the theme for 2019 has been endings. Because the whole entire... Because it seems like every single year there's a theme. Last year, it was failure. The Avengers failed at defeating Thanos. The people in Jurassic World sort of failed to stop the dinosaurs from harming people. And Solo failed to be a good movie. And seems like the theme for this year is endings. Because we've of course had Game of Thrones ending. We've had Avengers sort of ending. We've had it ending. And there's probably tons of other things that I've forgotten. And we have How to Train Your Dragon ending. Now, How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World is my most watched movie in cinemas. In fact, I kept track of how many times I watched it. I watched it 5 times in cinemas. And my first viewing was on, yes, I've got the dates and all, was on Monday the 4th of February. But that's nearly a year ago. And I saw it with both my parents and I almost cried. My second viewing was on Monday the 19th of February, only with my dad, didn't cry. My third viewing was sometime on a Monday in March. It was just me and one of my friends, with no other adults, which is a first for me. And I almost cried, and I would have if I didn't look to my. It's just my left. To my left, and so my friends try not to laugh at me. Apart from that, I would have cried. And my fourth viewing was on Friday, the 19th of April. I saw it with my mum, and I had one tear come down my eye. Now, I don't know if you'd really count my 6th viewing or not, but when I was on holiday, they had this screen where you could go on and see things for free. One of these movies was How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, which was on Tuesday, the 16th of July. It was only me, and I cried. This franchise has such an impact on me. Out of anything, this franchise has had the biggest impact on me. Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War gave me the idea that I could become a director. But How to Train Dragon: Hidden World, that gave me the passion that inspired me to go out and become a director. Not so I can become famous, not so I can make money, but so I can entertain people. So I can create something that can have the same effect on somebody that How to Train a Dragon had the same effect on me. Hopefully one day I'll go more in depth about why I love this movie. About why I love this whole franchise in general. And yes, I've seen Homecoming. I'll probably do something on that someday. But that's all I have to say. Because this video is like an hour long at this point, and the rendering of this is going to be atrocious. And tomorrow, at the time of me recording this, I'll be seeing my first movie of 2020, which will be Jojo Rabbit. So it'll be off to a good start. So thank you all so much for watching, and really, if you've made it this far into the video, first off, what the hell are you doing? And second of all, thank you so much. Because I love movies. Movies are my passion along with dinosaurs. Just due to this mainly being a dinosaur channel, I don't get a chance to talk about them that much. So, thank you for giving me the chance. So yeah, isn't Obsexio 1? Roar into victory! Ha!